Hello everybody, welcome to the Moo Sool Won-USA Moo Sool Cane Technique series. Assisting me is Mr. Zach Taylor. What we're going to do today is talk a little bit about some parts and pieces of the cane. When training with this cane, you must keep in mind the following. This is the tip, this is the shaft, this is the crook. During the training, you must be familiar with these parts so that you'll know how to communicate techniques to your students while practicing the cane techniques. I also want to talk a little bit about art versus smart. A lot of the techniques that we're going to do are stylized techniques found in a lot of martial arts, primarily Hapkido. People that have physical limitations that actually rely on a cane probably won't be able to use these 100%, but they can be modified for practical use. The final thing I want to talk to you before we get started is talking about tenderizing technique. If you have a very strong opponent and you are shorter or weaker or rely on this cane for balance, there are certain things you have to do to help even the odds, and that is to tenderize or soften your opponent. Throughout this series, you hear me talk about different targets, such as striking the knee, striking the groin, striking the ribs, and periodically, if you want, you can go ahead and bring the cane around and pop them in the back of the head. However, the way that we do this in the video series is more art versus smart. What I wanted to do is just go ahead and take a moment to show you one or two smart ways of doing certain techniques. The purpose of a weapon is to give you a reach advantage. So let's say he did a single hand choke. A lot of the times you'll see in our video series a tenderizing technique, just like this. In reality, if someone were to do this, you want to use your cane at its longest distance. So we would tend to step back and strike, and then from here bring it over and do the technique. So you might find yourself stepping forward or to the side doing part of your tenderizing techniques in a practical application. Again, art versus smart. Well, without any further ado, let's begin our training. Hello everyone, my name is Master Michael Munyon. Today we're going to work on our 1 through 15 techniques with the cane. Moo Sool. Assisting me is my assistant, Mr. Zach Taylor. Alright, without any further ado, we're going to go ahead and cover the first technique. The first technique, my partner is going to grab me by the lapel. When it comes to all cane techniques, it's important that we tenderize our opponent to soften them up. Different target areas include the knee, the groin, and the ribs. Depending on the location of your cane at the time of attack will determine where you go ahead and tenderize them with. The first technique we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and tenderize. I'm going to grab the cane with both hands, make a circular motion, bopping my opponent in the nose, continuing the circular motion, touching his shoulder, riding down the bicep, bringing his elbow to me as I step backwards. This breaks his balance, and it puts him in a position of disadvantage, and from here I bring my elbows up and push down at a 30-degree angle while my partner does a backfall. I will slide back and create a reactionary gap. That is technique number 1. Alright, we're going to go ahead and cover technique number 2 with the Moo Sool series. In technique number 1, he grabbed me by the lapel. In technique number 2, he's going to initiate a deadly force attack doing a front choke to my neck. As he does so, we follow the same rule. We do a tenderizing technique. This can be done to the groin or to the knee. It doesn't make any sense to bring my cane all the way over here and hit here. So I'm going to go ahead and instead of making a big circular motion, I'm going to bring the cane around, put it on his forearm with my key fingers pointing to the ceiling. I'm going to roll the cane as I step back, and I'm going to go ahead and aggravate those wonderful pressure points in his forearm. And as you can see, he grunts because this does not feel good. From here, I will bend my elbows, and I'm going to go ahead and take the shaft of the cane and strike him in the throat. Create a reactionary gap, scan for additional opponents, and that is it. Technique number 2. Cane technique number 3. Cane technique number 3 is very similar to cane technique number 1, except for he's going to use 2 hands. So my partner will go ahead and grab me by the lapel with both hands. I'm going to go ahead and strike him to tenderize him, distract him, and get his attention to another spot. It will also shift his weight to the other leg. I will grab the cane with both hands, do the same thing we did in number 1. Big circular motion, striking him in the bridge of the nose, touching the cane to his shoulders. I'm going to go ahead and ride the cane down his biceps as I'm stepping back, bringing his elbows to my body. Right here we broke his balance and put him at a position of disadvantage. Since this is not a deadly force encounter, from here I will take the cane and push on his shoulders and chest area. I will slide back to create a reactionary gap. I will stand from our adversaries. That is technique number 3. Cane technique number 4. It is very similar to number 2, except for my adversary used 2 hands to do a 2-handed front choke. So he does a 2-handed front choke. First thing I want to do is tenderize. I'm always hitting the knee, so I want to mix it up a little bit. Maybe this time I will strike the side. Bring the cane over, grab it with both hands, place the cane on his forearm, the tops of the forearm. I'm going to roll the cane down the nerve clusters of his forearm while stepping backwards, bringing his elbows to my body. And as you can hear, he loves that sound and he loves that pain. From here, I'm going to go and take the shaft of the cane, strike him in the throat. He goes backwards. I slide back, creating a reactionary gap. Scan for more opponents. That is technique number 4. Technique number 5. This is against a 2-handed choke. My partner would do a 2-handed front choke. I'm going to go ahead and tenderize him. If I want to throw more than one tenderizing technique, I can. From here, I'll take the tip of the cane and go up and over and under, and I'm resting the cane on the elbows of my opponent. My free hand palm will come up, key fingers are pointing. I'm going to pivot on my left foot and swing my right leg so that I'm sideways to him, and I'm going to go ahead and rotate the cane 90 degrees with my key fingers pointed. That is technique number 5. Cane technique number 6. In cane technique number 6, my opponent's going to do a 2-handed choke to my throat. The thing I'm going to do differently with this is I'm going to hold the cane like so, with the crook being on the bottom. He goes to do a 2-handed choke. The first thing I want to do, soften him up. So I'll strike him in the knee, or I can strike him in the ribs. I'll grab my cane, bring it over. I'm going to go ahead and do a circular motion and step backwards. So when I do that circular motion, I'll bop him in the nose, biceps, bring him towards me. If this looks familiar, good. I'm going to take the crook of the cane around the back of his neck. I'm going to grab the handle of the crook. From here, I'm going to take my cane, pull this way, and take my left arm elbow around the back of his neck, and we will execute a choke. Technique number 6. All right, next, technique number 7 with the cane. In technique number 7, I'm once again holding the cane down by my side with the crook pointing to the right. He does another 2-handed choke to my throat. Once again, I tenderize, grab it with 2 hands, make a circular motion, popping him in the nose, following the contour of his shoulder and bicep, and I'm stepping back. From here, I will take the crook around the back of his neck. In this technique, my forearm and elbow must follow the contour of the shaft. From here, I'll take my hop keto knife hand, place it down at a 30-degree angle. I'm going to pull back on the cane and lift upwards with my knife hand to get him in the throat. Cane technique number 8. Right now, my opponent's going to go into a fighting stance with his right leg back. I'm going to go ahead and step back to the point where the cane is not reachable for him. Okay, from here, my partner's going to go ahead and throw a front snap kick. When he does, I'm going to go ahead and shift back. I'm going to block with the cane. He sets the foot down. I'm going to insert the cane in a straight line right at the knee level. From here, I'm going to take my right elbow, the arm that's holding the cane, and I'm going to bring it inward as I go around him. Technique number 8. Cane technique number 9. This is against an adversary in a dynamic motion, throwing a front snap kick with the right leg and a right middle punch. So my partner gets in his fighting stance. I'm here. We will go ahead and key out to each other, let us know that we're both ready. So, throws the kick. I'm going to do a low block. He throws the punch. I adjust my stance to a front stance, bring it up, come around, and strike the temple. Technique number 9. Cane technique number 10. My partner will do a kick-punch combination. In this technique, I'm going to step off to the side and do a whipping motion, striking my opponent's elbow. Hup, hup. 1, 2. Technique number 10. Cane technique number 11. My opponent will go into a fighting stance with a kick-punch combination. This is very similar to the previous one, but we add one extra strike at the very end. Hup! Hup! Block, strike the elbow around your head, body strike. Technique number 11. Cane technique number 12. My partners will do a kick-punch combination. Hup! Hup! So I'll block, he punches, I push the cane right at the elbow area, rotate the cane sideways, punch him in the jaw with the cane. Then let it slide around the throat, take my left arm, put the cane in the bend in my elbow, wrap the hand around on the side of his head. I will put downward pressure with my left hand, upward pressure by the crook of the cane. Technique number 12. Cane technique number 13. Once again, we are defending against a kick-punch combination. So my partner will throw the kick. I will go ahead and do the low block. He throws the punch. I do the high block, but this hand comes over to grab. I initiate an outside wrist lock, getting his elbow slightly bent. I take the cane to the outside and bring it to the inside. The shaft of the cane is in the bend of his elbow. The tip area of the cane is by the side of his neck. I'm going to take my left foot and spin around behind me and drop to a knee. I'm going to pull the crook towards my right. Put the tip in his throat, and as you can hear, he is tapping. Technique number 13. Cane technique number 14. My opponent would do a kick-punch combination. Hup! Hup! Low block, high block, catch. Tenderize. From here, you can make an X, and you're going to go ahead and step through with your left leg, drop to your knee, and down he goes. Technique number 14. Cane technique number 15. This is the final technique in our 1 through 15 cane series. My partner gets in a fighting stance, does a kick-punch combination. I'm going to block, I'm going to step to the side, push by the elbow joint. Rotate the cane 90 degrees so that the crook goes to his neck. From here, I'm going to rotate my partner just a little bit. From here, all that I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and bring this end towards the floor, which will cause his head to tilt backwards. And as we know, wherever the head goes, the body follows. Cane technique number 15.